You want business owners want to scale. And I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you. We need injection of working capital
Mm-hmm.
to get those 10 people abroad so we can go to the next level. That is a framework in business, and and it works for so many people. If I am your CFO and I'm in your business, I would say, Nettie, okay, do we need to get 10 people all on board at the same time? Can we
Mm-hmm.
do one? Can we do two? What do we have to do to get two? That's like another $200,000 of expenses. Is there anything we could do in between to raise the revenue a little bit and
Right.
start playing around with it? Because if you get $1 million and you go out there and hire the 10 people, and those 10 people don't understand your vision and your culture, a year can go by and nothing happened. The business didn't scale, and the bank is saying,
True.
"Whoa, I need you to start paying a line of credit." So
Right.
yes, I believe that we can invest debt into the business to grow,
Mm-hmm.
but I also believe that we need to be clear. Clarity is very important, and the people we bring in have to tie in with your vision because they're a part of you.
Now, a lot of women coaches do not get into it immediately. They think that they can go with the flow just with the coaching style and just with the way that they have learned. Although their knowledge is valuable, it does not come very intrinsically to them that sales and marketing have to be a part of it. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I'm a life learner, so I also have my mentors, and they talk a lot about the right fit customer. And so it took me a while to understand that. I guess when we create a business, we just want to serve everybody. But if we just focus for a minute to that right fit customer, that the avatar that you've created in your mind, you want to help women in their 50s that are corporate women that know what a 6 or 7 figure salary is, then you can translate that into a business model that is successful instead of going around like crazy, just trying to get anybody in the business.
Welcome back to Luxury Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the finer side of life, not just in what we own, but in how we live, we think, and we grow, we transform. So today's episode is truly special because we are joined by a woman who brings financial wisdom and soulful transformation together in the most inspiring way. She is a certified public accountant, a business owner, and a passionate coach for helping women entrepreneurs move from financial confusion to clarity, abundance, and joy. And we are going to have loads of wisdom nuggets in this podcast. She has influenced a lot of people, and especially women over 50, and she is influenced by teachings of Tony Robbins. Welcome, Nilsa. Welcome to Luxury Unplugged podcast.
Thank you so much, Nettie, for having me here and Unplugged Luxury. I even love the title of your podcast because that's all about that unplug and a little bit of luxury as well.
So thank you so much for being our guest today, Elsa. So just to start off with, I'm very, very intrigued by your background from a CPA kind of a profession, then moving into being a coach inspired by Tony Robbins. Tell us about your journey in that case.
Yeah, well, my journey starts, I always say that our journeys start with stories. So as a very young girl, my mother
Mhm.
introduced me to a woman, my mom introduced me to the piggy bank of saving, and then she put me in a savings club in the school. And from there, my father taught me the Monopoly board, and my aunt, she was really into buying homes and fixing homes. So I got to see a little bit of entrepreneurship and the part of also about finances from a very young age. And I remember as a young girl in school, Halloween, and we're coming close to Halloween
Yes,
now.
we are.
The teacher says, "Who's going out for Halloween?" And all the kids, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." She goes, "Well, who wants to do UNICEF boxes?" And I said, and she explained to us what the UNICEF boxes were for. And I said, "I want two." And she says, "If you take two, you got to bring two." Okay. And so that Halloween was different for me. Instead of collecting candy, I was collecting coins from the home. So at a very young age, I started embodying this thing of purpose driven, of helping others. So as I go in my career, I'm in school and I graduate, I work in the corporate environment, I become CPA. I started noticing the focus on profits but how about the focus on purpose? And I know that the huge corporations do a lot of charity work, but I said, how does this apply to me? And just putting it back to my younger ages. And that's why I'm so adamant about what we learn as a child, we bring it into our adult world, but we also can share it with the next generations. So I'm really focused on this purpose-driven entrepreneur coaching vision is helping business owners achieve their goal in business, but also to teach their children or their families about the generational impact that they're creating for them more than the generational wealth.
That is so beautiful. I mean, what the kind of purpose that you are going for and the kind of theme that we are having for Luxury Unplugged is so well matched right now, as I can see. And probably that's why you booked with us.
Yes.
The kind of understanding that we have at a certain age, perhaps is that the reason why you have started coaching and perhaps you are coaching women around 50?
Well, the thing is that the more I get in, I'm really passionate about helping business owners, and I realize that there's data in the market that says the business owners, like 90% of business owners fail, or 80%. There's all this data out there. It's
Yeah.
impactful and it's a little bit scary as well.
Hmm?
So I chose, I said, I have this business background. I have a structure and a system, not only working with private companies, but also with corporate companies. So how do I take these systems and create them simple, fun, and impactful so everybody can understand
Right.
how they can get that goal of business to grow for them and to, have enjoy their give more to their families and to their communities. So it's just bringing this big structure into a smaller format.
So I understand from your conversation now that you are helping business owners get their financial systems correct, as well as you coach them on the mindset.
Yes, I believe the numbers tell a story, but you have to understand how the numbers flow so
Beautiful.
you can get that. I really admire business owners,
Mhm.
and they executed it. They went and they created this business and they're serving their communities. But there's a structure behind for a business to be successful. First, marketing is important. Marketing and sales is the oxygen of the business. And then
Right.
when you get your sales, you have to execute you have to deliver, but you
Mhm.
also have to collect, and you have to make sure you're pricing at the right amount, because a lot of women over 50 decide, I don't want to do the corporate world anymore. I want to create my business. But in corporate, they might have been making six, seven-figure salaries.
Yes.
If they're going to go on their own, they have to account for that as well.
Mhm.
What is their pricing? What is the value that they're adding to their customers so they can get back some of that income, because everybody needs income. We're living in a world that it's income based. We need money to be able to spend money.
Right, right. So let us understand that with an example. Can you walk us through some kind of a case study in some case that probably some women approached you, and how did you manage to help them with your kind of coaching in terms of
Yeah,
financial
yes.
stability?
We're right now we're in a moment in history where technology has lowered the barriers to entry. So literally with a laptop, a cell phone, and internet, we can all be in business. And then
Right.
as we go through the seasons of life, we're getting all these experiences. We're a wife, we're a mom, we're a professional, we have children, we're a daughter, we are sisters, and we have all this life experience. And
Hmm.
we can share this wisdom with so many people.
Right.
And we can do that creating what they call now the knowledge industry, that for in 2036, it's going to be like $1 trillion business, selling
Yeah.
courses and creating courses and coaching people online. This right now is a perfect opportunity. But before you step down from a 6 or 7 figure salary, learn the rules of the game or the rules of business so you
Mm-hmm.
are successful and you can serve many people, but you also are getting some income back for yourself because
Right.
you're building and as you go forward. The learning doesn't stop.
True. That women entrepreneurs face in terms of financial confusion.
Many women in general don't want to talk about money because they come from the story of they come from they're carrying stories from their grandparents and their parents. You don't talk about money. Having too much money is bad. That is greed. And I have a saying that when you learn how to make more in business and you learn the financial strategies of keeping more, and this is about tax planning, managing your taxes, then you have more. And when you have more and you're a purpose-driven entrepreneur, you're going to give more.
Right.
And you're also going to play more because you deserve to have the space to play. And that could be traveling, that could be taking your child on a trip, and then you're ultimately living more. So there's a whole sequence of learning. And I think the most important thing is to really understand why you're in business, what's the why of your business, and how you're going to start embodying those financial statements that nobody wants to look at them. A lot of business owners delegate their finances to accountants, and
Right.
they do their job of putting all the transactions together. But
Mhm.
the business owner needs to understand that the balance sheet is their report card.
Right. Right. So, in terms of early signs that one should, take charge of in their financial clarity, one you have already spoken about, which is going to be about the financial understanding. How much should you be charging? What is the next step that perhaps somebody should be, focused upon?
When you're delivering value, it's important that you understand what your value is worth.
Mhm.
I see a lot in the market where people are under charging their services just to serve a customer. And at the beginning, I understand that you're playing a little bit with pricing, but when if in a short time you can change somebody's life and get that person to the next level, that is adding value to somebody else, and you should be able to between the rules of reasonability be able to charge for that. And also to not only look at your business finance, but look at your own personal finances. Where are you in your personal life? Do you own a home? Do you not own a home? Do you have a lot of debt? We need to study the business the same way we're studying our personal finances as well, because at some point they merge together.
Right, right. Also, I have noticed that in the beginning only you very clearly talked about sales and marketing being fundamental. Now, a lot of women coaches do not get into it immediately. They think that they can go with the flow just with the coaching style and just with the way that they have learned. Although their knowledge is valuable, it does not come very intrinsically to them that sales and marketing have to be a part of it. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I'm a life learner, so I also have my mentors, and they talk a lot about the right fit customer. And so it took me a while to understand that. I guess when we create a business, we just want to serve everybody. But if we just focus for a minute to that right fit customer, that the avatar that you've created in your mind, you want to help women in their 50s that are corporate women that know what a 6 or 7 figure salary is, then you can translate that into a business model that is successful instead of going around like crazy, just trying to get anybody in the business. So I think we have to take the space to really understand what marketing, sales, our right fit customer is, and then we
Right.
can translate that to the balance sheet. But that's why I say if you're a corporate woman out there and you're thinking of stepping out of corporate, before you do that, take a moment to understand the whole business model that you're going to create. And that's going to get you successful faster than just dropping your job. To figure it out before you make that decision.
Right. So you basically talk about getting into the purview of the whole picture rather than, take the first step and think, take the next step and think, but rather have the picture clearly in your head that, okay, this is what I want to achieve in terms of numbers and in terms of business, and then only go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean that's what athletes do, right? They have a goal. They want to go to the Olympics. So they start very young, and they're doing their exercise and they're eating healthy and they're going to bed early. They're doing all that to get to that day of the Olympics.
Right, right. So in terms of let's talk about the fears or the guilt that perhaps blocks the financial decisions. What do you think these emotions, do they hold any kind of blockage?
Yeah, they own blockage and they say they're obstacles. I have a woman that says, "Neil, so these are like obstacles in the road. I'm trying to drive and I can't go by because there's big rocks in the road." And I said, "But where did this come from?" My grandmother said that we were poor. My mother said that we were poor, that we were not going to be able to do certain things. And they carry this mindset. And in the Tony Robbins world, he's the perfect example. coming from the family he came from and how he broke through all those obstacles. And he says going through the thresholds to
Right.
let go of the to let go. And it's easy for me to say this. It takes a while to let go of those things, but just saying yes to yourself, loving yourself,
Yeah.
and just taking many steps will get you to that goal that you want.
Beautiful.
So identity, lifting your standards, the mindset shift. But I think if I had to choose one, loving ourselves first,
Mm-hmm.
that takes a lot of energy and that can happen.
Yeah. But that it just takes a while to unlearn the financial shame that perhaps has been passed on by generations and then start seeing money as an energy or perhaps as freedom. And that's a very big block, I think, for women, no matter which culture you belong to, which tradition you follow. Do you think so?
I agree 100%. There's a blockage. I know women who put a set point at just to say $60,000 a year, and it doesn't matter what they do, it stays at that because they put in their head that that is enough for them to live without being greedy.
Right.
And I turned that around. I said, if you had 120,000, just think about the things you can do. You can send your child to that summer program to help him with his math courses. You can give more to your community. You can create a nonprofit if you would like. And then they said, oh, I've never thought of it like that.
So basically, the thought only doesn't come. At that level, people are already living that they do not even think ahead that what can happen really with the increased income.
I don't have
They,
any light.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
This?
Tell us, how can someone create a simple, joyful relationship with money and with their business? What do you think is required?
What is required is to say yes to understanding the flow of how business works and money works,
Right.
and then allowing yourself to enjoy it, to bring it. If you don't want to spend it on yourself, and
Uh-huh.
then even writing a check to a charity makes all the difference. I
Mhm.
remember being in Business Mastery with Tony Robbins, and he said, today, let's take 5 minutes. He says, five songs. It's a little bit more than 5 minutes. We're going to raise money for girls that are being sexually trafficked. He says, I'm going to start this with $250,000. And in 5 songs later, he raised with the group $2.5 million. And that was mind blowing to me to
Wow. It is.
see. There
Mhm.
were like 10,000 people in the business mastery, and people were just giving money, giving money. Now, as a CPA, I know that the more money you make, the more write-offs you get in taxes if you give money to charity. That's part of tax planning. But that's the vision here, guys. If
Right.
you make more, you get to give more. And that is exhilarating. That is purpose driven right there. So you
Right.
get to make more, to keep more, and then you get to give more. So we can't shy away. If we have the capability making more, then we have the responsibility to make more. So
Absolutely.
ultimately we can give more, and not only to charities, but to our own children and to our aging parents. Just think about aging parents. They're going to need us at some point.
True.
And having a little bit of money to help them with a nurse or with whatever they need in their elderly age, that right there is exhilarating as well.
That is true, and that's very well said. But tell me something, somebody who is in a business, who is a business owner and has all that vision that you have talked about, that, giving to charities, helping out aging parents and stuff like that. What does somebody do who's already in the business but going through some kind of a turmoil and they also want a concrete system? They thought they have a concrete system. It didn't turn out like that.
Well, what happened during COVID, a lot of
Absolutely.
businesses had to shut down. And before that, we
Yeah.
had the Great Recession.
Mhm.
And for me, and that's where this lit up for me when I saw in the
Oh,
Great
okay.
Recession, and I read that 4 million people lost their homes and 2 million people lost their businesses. That was when I said, no, it's time. I'm gonna head up and I'm going to help people. And from since that day on, I've been helping people because people that were well established
Mhm.
did not, they were in the, I don't, they were in the game 24/7. They for federal funds. They didn't know how to do because they were just they they were always on the go. And as business owners, we need to take a moment to, they like to say work on your business, not in your business. That is so true. We need to step back for a second and say, what am I doing? How many
Right.
hours am I dedicating to this business? I haven't taken a vacation in so many years. I haven't gone to my kids' activities at school. So even though you're in the business and the business all of a sudden gets a hit, it's that's the moment to be creative and innovate. And we saw that during COVID when they closed the food companies down. Some people created a drive-through in their business while others closed the business. So it's that's the moment to be have innovation and creativity.
Beautiful. Yeah. So it's about finding the right thing to do at the right time. If a roadblock has come, then find out another place from where you can actually walk away rather than getting stuck over there.
And never give up. This is your dream. This is your story. You
Hmm.
don't give up. You pivot, you iterate, but you don't give up.
Beautiful.
Because you're also a role model for
Hmm.
everybody who's watching, particularly the younger kid, your kids, they're watching. Your nephew, your nieces, they're watching. So you
Right.
got to pivot
Hmm.
and iterate and just find a way. And that's why we make relationships with people. It's okay to call somebody, say, I'm going through this.
Yeah.
What do you have any insights for me? And
Right.
that somebody can say, Nilsa, the knowledge industry, the technology, use your laptop, make a master class, and people start giving you concepts until you get out of it. Everybody gets out of it. Nobody's going to be stuck. Never. The life is always moving forward. And I see this in Puerto Rico. I'm in Puerto Rico right now. When there's a hurricane, you think the world is over. 2 or 3 days later, the trees start growing again.
That's true.
And that's nature. So that means we can continue to always grow and
Because we are
develop.
part of nature as well. Of course. Yeah. So in that case, now that we have understood that the blocks lie within us and these kind of patterns need to be broken, what is that thing that is required? What are the common mistakes families are making when they're planning for the future? And how can we start building the legacy, by just not leaving assets behind, but overall generational wealth? What do you have to say about that?
As for me as a family, I love creating bonds with my family. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, travel is important as a family. And we do not only have fun trips, so we do nonprofit trips as well. Like we went to Africa and we got to see people that don't have water, but
Mm-hmm.
the kids are eager to go to school and to learn. So
Right.
that right there tells you sometimes we don't need the luxury to
Mm-hmm.
be living life. You see, that's why I love your podcast because that's exactly what you're talking about. I got
Exactly.
to see that in Africa.
Uh-huh.
And this morning, I'm in Puerto Rico and the water pipes in Puerto Rico broke. And so there's no water. Oh my God. I said, but you know what? I'm going to do my podcast because if I went to Africa and saw people with no water, why am I not going to do a podcast because I have no water? That doesn't make any sense. So you start seeing the sensibility of life and how fortunate we are.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that help you moving forward and also to help everybody around you continue to move forward.
Right, right. So that's about, being sustainable even in the face of disaster or a challenge. And this kind of thing translates into the business as well, right? So
Yes.
if we talk about three principles in the business growth, what would you be supporting? What would be the three
Three
principles?
principles in the business world to always have integrity.
Hmm.
Yeah, you do business with integrity.
Uh-huh.
Do business to be a win-win. Don't try to don't try to get over somebody who's not in the position to win. Be a win-win conversation and both businesses win.
Mm-hmm.
And your team. You must treat your team as you treat your family with respect and honor because the reason we can do business is because they believe in our mission. So we have to also honor and protect them as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. And this is not just a concept, this is actually people who are doing it and putting it as a rule in their business. They are seeing the results of it already. So, in terms of personally defining success, we have already, discussed that, and we have discussed about giving out, giving not only to family but to friends, to family, to the employees of the business, and also to the people around. So we're talking about charity, and stuff like that happens only when we are financially secure, right? So in terms of blending motivational and inspirational mindset coach that you are, the tactical aspect, how do you manage to help people with the tactical aspect? Because people might be approaching you for different kind of businesses and different kind of requirements. Walk us through a case study of that kind.
Well, I always tell people that they are the center of their own universe, and
Uh-huh.
they have to believe that. So and then you have to take action. I have a younger customer who started a yoga school.
Uh-huh.
And when I met, we do yoga in the morning. When I met him, I felt the flexibility to talk about finance with him.
Uh-huh.
And I said to him, look, you have a unique opportunity to create some wealth and to create some financial security, not only flexibility, security. And
Right.
this young man that I met who had $300 when he started, now he has 50,000. And he is so happy because he says, Nilsa, I went to school to be a banker, but
Mm-hmm.
the way you explain things to me, you open up a different world because I thought I could never have that amount of money in my bank account. I said, but you're just starting. This is just for you to be grounded in the fact that you created this yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't create it. You created it. You use your laptop, you use your knowledge, your wisdom to help people through this process of connecting with themselves through yoga. And I said, the next step I would love you to take is to start looking to buy your first home.
Right.
It's just the people have all the tools are inside of them. We have this energy inside of them. It's just sometimes connecting with that person that's going to believe in them and say, I see the potential in you. Now let me help you see it. And then how are we going to take it from there?
True, true, beautiful. So I mean, yes, I completely agree with you, but in terms of like a financial plan, now, while I or somebody else who is a business owner would love to have exceptional business growth, there's always this sort of challenge that is there around the corner, right? So, how do we protect mental health while we are, creating our financial plan?
Okay, mental health. I love to tell people let's not do budgets because I see budget as scarcity. Let's do forecasting because I see that as abundance. So
Yes.
it's let's just do forecasting in abundance. If I do this, I'm going to be able to do that. The same with the sales, the same with the marketing. Let's create the abundance, even if it's on paper. I mean, we need our spreadsheets. I love Excel. We need to create on Excel and spreadsheets, but don't do it as a budget where we're not going to have a coffee break now because we're going to save $1. No, forecast. I'm going to bring another $20,000 this month of revenue and forecast that way with like intention. That there's a beautiful model that I just learned the other day where you have your business model and you're measuring KPIs, your key performance indicators
Indicators, yeah.
and your cash flow. But then there's a happiness model. You get to choose what joy, fun, and pleasure mean to you, but the base of that is finances. So we have to extract from the business to bring to the happiness model that is you as a person, as an individual. So you're managing two models, the KPIs here, the return on investment over here, the return on intention.
Right.
And you have to have that energy when you're projecting your business or the plans that you have to grow. So yes, tax planning is important. Naming all that, having a spreadsheet with all the debts and the payments and the interest rates, and how do we eliminate debt? My ultimate goal for all of your audience is to grow a business and try to minimize debt because then you're paying interest out. How about those interests come back to you? Just think about it. A lot of new businesses, there's banks out there offering lines of credit,
Right.
and they tie that up to a personal guarantee, which is your
That's
home.
true. That's true.
And that's what got so many people in trouble
Mhm.
during the Great Recession and during COVID,
Yes.
more during the Great Recession. So if we learn to grow a business with mindset, with these forecast of abundance and we stay away from the debt. Just look what you're not risking your hard work to any bank or any investment banker.
Right. But tell me something, Nelsa. If I am the business owner and I require, let's say, $1 million to expand, to grow my business and make it come to the next level because I have already envisioned. Now I have already forecasted that I need, let's say, 10 more employees to make that happen for me. So I need that kind of capital. And if I don't go to the banks, or I would be requiring angel investing in that case. So what do you have to give me? What suggestion do you have for me?
You want business owners want to scale. I
Mhm.
agree with you. We need injection of working capital to get those 10 people abroad so we can go to the next level. That is a framework in business and and it works for so many people.
Right.
If I am your CFO and I'm in your business, I would say, Nettie, okay, do we need to get 10 people all on board at the same time? Can we
Mhm.
do one? Can we do two? What do we have to do to get two? That's like another $200,000 of expenses. Is there anything we could do in between to raise the revenue a little bit and
Right.
start playing around with it? Because if you get $1 million and you go out there and hire the 10 people, and those 10 people don't understand your vision and your culture, a year can go by and nothing happened. The business didn't scale, and the bank is saying,
True.
"Whoa, I need you to start paying a line of credit." So
Right.
yes, I believe that we can invest debt into the business to grow, but I also believe that we need to be clear. Clarity is very important, and the people we bring in have to tie in with your vision because they're a part of you.
Yes,
So a lot of what
absolutely.
we do when we're growing fast, we start hiring the first people that come in,
Mhm.
and then they don't get the vision.
That's what happens in startups, right? In startups, that's what happens because when you hire people, not everybody gets your vision, and that's where massive hiring and firing goes on. But then the right step, I think, what you just nailed it by saying that, you do it, you kind of nail it down by one or two or three or four employees at a time, and then you kind of increase it from that level. So that's beautiful. That's a beautiful nugget. I can move on to the last question, perhaps, that what is your advice for staying grounded when your business is going through massive expansion? Because you are seeing the results, you are getting all that excitement, all the hyperness together, right? So, how do you keep yourself grounded at that time?
You have to keep yourself grounded because if you burn out, your business is not going to be joyful for you anymore. So as a business owner, you're in this high, you're scaling, you're making all this amazing value to your customers, but it's okay to work out in the morning, even if it's for a half an hour. You have now the income to plan even your meals. I know this wonderful woman business owner. She brought in somebody to make the lunches for her and her team. So they're healthy and nobody's going to the fast foods for lunch. She says, "I'm going to provide I'm going to provide that value for you guys. I want everybody to be healthy on my team." So she brought somebody to bring in to cook healthier foods. And I thought that was beautiful. And all the snacks in the office are water and healthy snacks. So we have to take, we're on this high and we're not gonna, when you're on that high, you got to ride that high. Because I'm not telling you guys to not get to get off the high. I mean, that I love those highs as anybody else does.
Yeah.
But it's also our life. And this
True.
is like a car. If we drive a car and we don't put oil in it, the motor's not, we need to fill ourselves. We need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And
That.
that could be like my father-in-law used to say, just change activity.
Mhm.
Even taking the dog for a walk can just change your whole energy. But we need to reset. We need to ground ourselves. I mean, I just like taking my shoes off and going in the grass. That works for me.
Yeah,
Taking a little bit of sun
absolutely.
and a little and just being barefoot for a little bit, that helps. And
Absolutely.
water and just knowing that ride the high, but don't burn yourself out. And
Yeah,
it's so easy to burn ourselves out. It's so easy. We start working 12 and 14-hour days. We're not sleeping, and at some point it's going to catch up with us.
true.
So take care of yourself and take
That.
care of your team. And if you have all this money, then bring somebody in the office to help you guys have some meditation, breathing, stretching. and
Stuff
eating
like that.
healthier.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you can afford that, and you can write it off also. It's a write-off.
So that's the financial advice right there, along with the spiritual advice. And I
Exactly.
really appreciate your advice is not coming as a coaching mentor. It's coming more from the heart that go out, stretch, go out, do yoga. And you're talking about simple things in life. And that's what Luxury Unplugged is all about. Talking about unplugging and really taking a moment for yourself and getting back into the groove again. So thank you so much, Nilsa, for your time today.
It's been
We
a pleasure,
really
and you must be so happy that you have this work that you're helping your whole audience connect to themselves and getting to meet all these different people that you bring on online. This is what they call proximity, and I'm really I congratulate you for that, and
thank you
thank you
so
for
much.
having me on.
Thank you so much, Nilsa. We've had just amazing conversation with you. Some of these nuggets are really going to help people, especially in the financial arena, as well as the spiritual side that we covered today. In fact, we have covered everything from financial confusion to women entrepreneurs who want to rise, who are facing burnout, how can they come out of it? We've explored so many steps around moving from financial fog to clarity. We have covered how to be having a simple, joyful relationship with money, and how can we view money as something as perhaps generational wealth, which is not possible for so many people, right? We've talked about mindset practices. We talked about nurturing mindset to stay grounded when we are expanding like crazy in business. And that's about building a business with balance, growth, and grace. So thank you so much, Nilsa, for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope audiences you love this podcast, and if you did, do like and keep coming back to Luxury Unplugged podcast. Thank you so much.